Hey y'all, welcome to Cop Work. Today we're talking about if you want to be a detective or not. Maybe it's for you, maybe it's not for you if you're a cop. Or maybe you just want to be a cop and you don't know if it's for you. But it was for me. I enjoyed the chase of being a detective, and that's really what you do. Is you try to figure it out. It's like working a puzzle. Sometimes it's a whodunit. And then sometimes it's not even a whodunit. It's you know who did it. Then you got to catch them. And so today we'll talk about a burglary that I worked and thinking outside the box to get a warrant for a guy. And I got a call one day from patrol. They got called, homeowner come home, and their house had been burglarized. They had a gun safe out in the garage, but it wasn't locked. And so, of course, when they get home, the guns are gone. Well, they get to looking around, and they figure out that there are some guns that are leading away from the house. Well, their property backed up to a creek. So I get over there, and they're telling me all this. And in the bedroom, this guy had left his burglary tools, but they were in a purple tube sock. And so I was like, well, that's interesting. Okay. So we go out and we go down through this guy's property and through this creek and up the other side of the creek. Well, it comes out in a place where there was a gravel pit. And so we see this little car sitting there. We go over to the car and we look over in the back of this little hatchback. Well, there's the other purple tube sock. And so I'm thinking, okay, got a pretty good idea who did this. So they've gathered up most of the guns. Didn't get them all back. He had a couple of them, which was bad. He was a convicted felon for burglary. He was on parole for burglary. Burglary of habitation. And back in the day, that was a first-degree felony. It's not anymore in Texas, but it used to be. And so we run the license plate of the car and figure out who he is and that he's currently on parole. Well, I get a warrant for his arrest based on that purple tube sock. Had the tube sock been white, I couldn't have gotten a warrant because there wasn't anything distinctive about it. It was the color, and the matching mate was in the back of this car, and it was registered to him, and he was a convicted felon on parole for burglary of habitation. So the judge was kind enough to issue this arrest warrant. Well, we can't find him. I don't know where he's at, but like I said, he's on parole. So we get a hold of the parole officer, and they said, yeah, he's on parole, but he hasn't reported in a while. Got bees flying around, sorry. Hadn't reported in a while, but we'll call him and see if we can get him to come in. I was like, perfect. You tell us and tell us when he's going to be there, and we'll come get him. So the parole officer said, yeah, we'll do that. Well, they called us in a couple of days and said, listen, he's scheduled. He don't know anything about this. He's scheduled to be in a couple of days. So a sergeant and I go over there, and we're hiding. We're hiding in an office. And sure enough, in he walks. Well, we step out from behind the door, identify ourselves, and tell us where we're from. And he says, I did it. We said, we know. And so we take him to jail. And while we're talking to him, he said, yeah, he said, I got greedy when I stole all those guns. They were too heavy for me to carry, and I dropped them. He said, and then I saw the homeowner come home. I was hiding in the creek. And he said, I made like a salamander. We were like, okay. He said, I got flat. and I was hiding. He said, I saw the cops. He said, and he looked at me and he said, I saw you. He said, I saw you go to my car, and I knew. And I was like, yep. So he was not happy, but I don't know why he showed up at his parole office at all. I guess he thought we wouldn't catch him. But had it not been for the tube sock being purple, never would have gotten that warrant. Never. But it was so distinctive, and the car was registered to him, and he was on parole, and he was a convicted felon. So that's how we got the warrant for him. And we called him the Salamander for a long time after that. We got all the guns back. Thankfully, he had taken some other property. We got that back too. And he went back to prison, really where he belonged. He didn't have any business being out, but the state of Texas had let him out. You know, can't keep him in forever. And so they'd let him out, and he was back to his same old tricks again, being a burglar and stealing people's property. It's what he did. And so anyway, sometimes if you're a detective, or you got to think kind of outside the box a little bit to get things done. Now, this was a long time ago, so probably not that way today. You know, with social media and all the rest of it, I guess it's a little bit easier than it was back then to catch people and identify them. I chased him it didn't take very long, maybe a week. I figured it out, you know, really from the car and that wonderful purple tube sock. He's not very bright, but if that kind of thing interests you, the town that I worked in was predominantly, it was a bedroom community. It was predominantly, I worked a ton of burglaries, lots and lots of burglaries. Not a whole lot of crimes against persons, some, but it was just my partner and I, and we had about 100 cases a month on our desk each. And so if you like that kind of work and know that you're going to be busy, maybe being a detective is for you. I really enjoyed it when I was one. So anyway, I like to end these videos with an appeal for the hurricane relief effort. If you can please donate anything to the hurricane relief effort. Those people are still in an absolute world hurt, and a lot of things have been given to them, but they still need a lot of things. And if you can find a charity that you feel is trustworthy, if you can just maybe help them out a little bit, that'd be a really good thing. And so I do that. And if you can help them out, I'm sure it's all very appreciated, because they just don't have anything. A lot of them, they just don't have anything, and so they need everybody's help. If you can do that. And I always like to end this with one of my favorite cop shows that's ever been on television was Hill Street Blues. And when that patrol sergeant would end briefing, he would say, "Let's be careful out there." Well, for me, I paraphrase that a little bit with y'all, and I'd say, you know, y'all be careful out there.